Got something to say. How are you, ladies and guys watching? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Some of you for Thanksgiving sent me their holiday pictures, which were turkeys. And then they said, all right, finally they were going to send me some pictures of their family. Thank you. And I got some great Christmas trees. I have to tell you, of some famous magazine. I mean, you guys really freaking go all out. It's incredible. Anywho, my next guest is already on. I was just going to say, guess who's coming to town? Sharon. How are
Hi,
you, honey?
good. How are you?
So,
Good to
Sharon and
hear.
I go way back. We met at my first gym, I think in Bala Cynwyd, did we?
We met. So I don't know if it was your first gym, but it was your gym in Bala, right across from Saks.
Yeah. And we
Yeah,
ran into each other at Susie's lunch, and you're like, wait a minute, did you teach me and my husband boxing classes or something? That was so fun.
exactly what I said to you because I remember your studios, and we used to go to that one after work on the way home, and the boxing classes were unbelievable. And I think I remember saying to you something like, "Oh my God, I remember this pregnant girl who took this boxing class until she was like dropping the baby." And I was like dying in the boxing classes. And I was doing it 9 months pregnant, but I love that studio. I did.
Yeah, a lot of fun. A lot of great memories. So, Sharon, before we get into
Yeah.
what you're doing now with real estate, and I know also you're involved with Be Nice. I think it's BW Nice, the Montgomery chapter you're the president of, and I want to talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
We got big news. I mean, I'm reaching out to you. You're like, yes, Ann, I'll get back to you. I'm in Paris right now. I was like, what the heck? Like, and she's still getting back to me. And she's like, yeah, I'll send you this. I'm like, don't worry about it. So,
No,
how
no,
long were you there? I need to know everything.
if you're just gonna, take the idea of let's just go to Paris for 5 days and run with it, then it's worth answering a couple texts or emails, to or from and while you're there because I was able to be there and soak it all up. It was unbelievable. My husband has never been. I went in 1991 for a quick minute with some friends and did not appreciate it when I was 21. And fully appreciated it at this age. It was everyone should do it. It was 5 days, 5 nights. I mean, one night in the air, but
Yeah.
it was perfect. It was just perfect. It was
I
cold and
mean,
dreary and rainy and
yeah.
still perfect.
It's still perfect. I love it. I love it. But wait a minute. Was it planned or was the spur of the moment?
It wasn't totally spur of the moment, but we literally planned it a month ago. It was just
Okay,
sort of
that's pretty much spur of the moment. That is like, yeah, let's go to Paris.
yeah, it was like I really want to get away and do something before the holidays and the kids and we have kids out of college and they're doing different things and taking the CPA exam, all these moving parts. And I really wanted to do something just Jeff and I before they had more availability, sort of lock them out of our travels. I'm hoping that they're not listening to me right now. And so we said, let's go away for a long weekend, which works, and then we thought, oh, maybe we'll do something like Miami, like do something shishi, like go and stay and, go to really fancy restaurants and blah, blah, blah. And we were like looking into that. And then my husband's a bit of he's now addicted to Europe because we started traveling to Europe like right before COVID, so about 4 or 5 years ago. And so he has like with Google Flights, he has a notification set up for any reasonably priced flights, and the price was so cheap. It was a couple dollars more to go to Miami. I mean, a couple dollars less to go to Miami than to fly direct to Paris. So we were just like, F it.
Wow.
We're just going to
Yeah.
Paris. So that's the whole story. That there was no other reason. None.
You know what? That's a great tip. Don't just assume it's going to be more expensive because you don't know.
First of all, it's really not more expensive. Second of all, all of us have done these trips to Vegas for a couple days or LA or whatever work trips that are
Yeah.
pretty far
Yeah.
away. I think, depends on the part of Europe, but certain parts of Europe, like Ireland's even closer than Vegas. Paris is probably an hour and a half further. But like when you wrap it all up in the box, you're like, oh, that makes complete sense. So yeah, I highly recommend. We only did the 5 days because I don't love to travel for too long. I miss my puppy and I'm just sort of a homebody, but the 5 days were, I mean, it was perfect.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. All right, Sharon, so let's get into this because I know we have a lot to talk about in this area. I asked you for the one line you want to say to women around the world and men, and you
Yeah.
picked you can make a pivot. And I
Uh,
know that you made a major pivot 10 years
yep.
ago.
Yep. Uh,
So tell us a little bit about that. And at first, I got a lot of questions because I did send it out to my peeps. And they want to know, when you first did that, were you really confident and feeling good about it? Or were you, to quote a lot of people, were you scared shitless?
So, just as quick of a backstory as I can make, and ironically, today is the 10th anniversary of us actually closing our old business. So, I was in a family-owned and run retail business, Robinson Luggage, for Philadelphians that are watching the view.
Remember?
Everybody would know us. So, I was in that business for 20 some years with my father and my mother at one point, and my sister. And we realized the business wasn't going to make it, and we closed the business. And um, interestingly enough, when I sat down, I had already gotten my real estate license, like in full disclosure. I kind of saw the writing on the wall of the business, and I had already taken the classes and passed the course. So I was already a licensed real estate agent at that point, but I wasn't working in real estate. And I didn't really think I wanted to for a little bit because the little bit that I worked at for a short bit, I didn't really love it. It was very catty, which this industry can be very, very catty. So I just didn't think that's what I wanted to do. And I remember sitting at a computer and looking on how to type a resume because I went into my family business 4 days after high school graduation. So how to type a resume and what to put on the resume, and thinking that I didn't have any skills because
Um,
like none of them were like, they were completely relatable to my business and what I
yeah,
did in my world for
yeah,
years. But putting them in this, what I always thought was like high level business terminology, if it's the right word,
yeah, yeah.
I didn't find myself. So I was scared shitless. I mean, my business, I loved my business, but believe me, my business helped support my family and my
Mm,
kids who were in high school, eventually going to be going to college and yada yada. So our lifestyle was also dependent on me, not just my husband. So it wasn't an option. And I had to find something to recreate myself. And luckily, somebody said to me, a very good friend of mine said to me, Sharon, I don't understand. You have your license. Why don't you sell real estate? And I was telling her why. And she's like, my friend is with Keller Williams. Just talk to her. She loves it. And the rest is sort of history. And but yeah, I was really scared. I didn't know anything. I was in a business for 23 years. I really had never done anything else.
yeah, yeah.
So yes,
And
for people who are considering this, the fear factor of having to do it, it wasn't it wasn't necessarily a choice because it was a sink or swim choice. It wasn't like
yeah,
maybe
yeah.
I'll change my life, my business, and da 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 da. The grass is greener somewhere else. It wasn't that. It was I had nothing left.
Okay. Well, we're getting a lot of questions coming in, Sharon. And the biggest one, hold on, people, I'll try to get to as many as I can, is so many women can relate to this.
Mhm.
And they, this one woman said she was the CEO. She doesn't want to name the company for 33 years. And she got pushed into retirement. And she was filling out a questionnaire. And she says, I realized the only skill I have, which there's nothing wrong with it, is to be a cashier at one of the local stores. She's like, I felt like I had no skills.
Yeah.
And she went back and took a course at a community college, and it really helped her realize, wait a minute, she does have a lot of skills.
for
She
some.
just didn't know how to put it on paper.
You don't know how to put it on paper, and like you're sitting there and you're in these apps that are like trying to help you write your. Or I was on. I don't even remember what it was, but I was on one of the websites I used to hire people from, and I was just looking at sample resumes, and I was like, I don't really can't say I specialized in that because I,
Mm-hmm.
when you're running your own business, you're sort of not or CEO or something, right? You're sort of not specializing in anything. You're just overseeing everything.
Yeah,
So I
a lot
wasn't
of
the
that.
designer, and I wasn't the accountant, and I wasn't the bookkeeper, and I wasn't the marketing manager, and I was just overseeing all these people. Um, so yeah,
But let me ask you this. Once you got involved in the real estate, did you realize that even though you didn't have to translate it on paper, you freaking did have a lot of skills of being in business for yourself?
I knew I had the skills. Um, I just didn't. What I kept thinking initially was to go to work for another company, which I didn't want to do either because I ended up president of my company. So who wants to work for somebody else after that, right? So,
Holler.
right. So, like, I'm looking for what can I do working in just a very narrow business, just having my column, right? And luckily, I'm just going to call it on luck. I ended up with my real estate business, and I always consider it very much my business. I talk to my managers about this, and like, you realize every decision that my brokerage makes affects my business, which is me. I am my own business. So every decision that you make, because in real estate in the state of Pennsylvania, you have to work under a broker of record.
Oh, I did not know that.
You have to work under a broker of record. There's a lot of states in the U.S. that you have to actually have your brokerage license. The difference between what I do and a real estate broker is I'm a salesman and I manage the paperwork, and I have my own flow up. But the broker is like the legal side of what we do. To get your broker's license in the state of Pennsylvania is really challenging. I mean, it's 300 hours or something. It's a lot, but it's really the legal side of the industry, which us as salespeople, obviously we have responsibility and legal responsibility, but not like the broker of record.
Yeah.
So anyway, I run my own business essentially. Like, I am my marketing department. You and I talked about marketing. That's why I'm on your podcast. So I am my marketing department. I am my sales department. I am my finance department, my everything, which I guess I'm fortunate it's on a much smaller scale than it was before. One thing I recognized very early on and I've stuck with is I have not wanted to manage a lot of people again. I loved my peeps so much. Our Robinson family,
Yeah.
still communicate with them.
Yeah.
Didn't want to have the responsibility of 30 or 40 families under me again. That was a big ticket that my dad really ran with for a lot of years, and I have no interest in doing that again. So
So, Sharon, here you are. A lot of people in Philly, they're coming in. We went to your store. We love that store. A lot of people remember you.
yeah.
This one, it's a gentleman. We're going to answer the gentleman's question. He wants to know, did you ever feel like you lost your identity? Like, wait a minute. I am Robinson Luggage. This is who I am, and now who I am? Or did you not skip a beat and go right into it?
No, 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 no. I have a speech written that I probably have recorded somewhere about my pivot, and that's where it came from today, about the pivot that I made. And one of the very early thoughts that came together when I was writing that was I totally lost my identity because it was 2013. And the only, my statement in the little speech was my only email address was ever Sharon@robinsonluggage.com. I never knew anything else but Sharon@robinsonluggage.com. And that is an identity marker in today's world, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't even think I ever had just a plain Gmail email address. It was always robinsonluggage.com. So I lost a lot of my identity. And probably why I mention my old life a lot. I mention Robinson's a lot. It has a very, very special place in the heart of a lot of people. A lot of people. I met somebody a week or two ago who started crying when I told her what my business was because she remembered when her parents made it, you know, made it in their world. They took her to Robinson and bought her a set of travel luggage. So,
Oh yeah, I know. Because when I told people you were coming on, even my mother-in-law was like, well, first he's like, wait a minute, I didn't even know they closed. Like,
I didn't
because
even know.
she remembers going there with my husband.
Yeah, this was Mary Kate Venuto. You know Mary Kate. Oh, you know
Yeah.
Mary Kate.
Oh yeah. 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 Yeah.
That started literally crying to me at a luncheon, sending me pictures of the luggage that her parents bought her when they thought that they made their first money,
Yeah.
that they were finally comfortable. They made it.
Yeah.
They took her to ride. It was just the craziest. And when we were closing the business, I ran the back end of the whole of the business at the time. We also had an internet business, so we were pretty big online. And my sister ran the stores. So when we decided to close, I was running the whole back, shutting the business down on the back end, the warehouse, the internet. And my sister was shutting down the brick and mortar stores. And so we consolidated it all to our Broad and Walnut store. And so one day I go to help her at the store, trying to be present. And after like 2 hours, I walked out of there and I said, I can't do this. I can't, I don't know how you're going to do this for the next 28 days. I don't know how, because there are families and people coming and crying. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
can't leave us. Well, it's like, we really don't want to, but we real unfortunately had no choice.
Mm.
Hmm.
Okay. So now let's talk about your pivot because you said you can do it and it was difficult. But how long did it take you, they want to know, to get into that groove? Was it a few months? Was it a few years? Is it still going on, Sharon?
Well, it's always changing. But when I first got into the business, I really jumped in 100%. I'm going to say to everybody, I haven't been with Keller Williams in probably 7 years, but anybody who's looking to start in real estate, and I'm happy to speak to anybody about it. If you have any questions, find me and I'm happy to talk you through it. I really still recommend starting at Keller Williams. I think that they have the best training program out there. And at that time, which was 10 years ago, but at that time, it was like a full time job. It was, I can't remember,
Oh,
it was 4 or 5 days a week, but it was like 9 to 11 or 9 to 12 every day. And I would go into the office like old world real estate and I would sit through the classes and I'd learn how to um, learn all these pieces of this business that I really wasn't aware of. I mean, I was only aware of retail. So this was really different. And they really they trained me. And one of the things that I took out of it was I wrote scripting is really big in sales. So I wrote a
oh,
script for a personal phone call to make to people. So I spent the first many months in an office that I made in my basement, um, sending emails to people saying, this is what I'm doing now. And I'm going to follow up with you shortly. And I followed up with I talked to over 250 people personally, sent a thank you note with business cards in it, and that kicked off my business. And I will be honest, most realtors don't do it.
no, they don't.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
I don't know what people prey on or pray to, but most people don't. And I did bridal shows, and I did a little bit of buying on Zillow, on Zillow leads, and I did a little bit of everything. But my business has progressed to matured, I should say, to almost 100% of my business is referral based. Is either people that know, love, and trust me, or those people that know, love, and trust me, they referred me to their friends and neighbors and family. Almost 100%. I very rarely find people that I don't know. Like I haven't continued with buying leads in years. I haven't bought leads in probably 8 years. Um, so I've really just built my business on referrals.
Which is amazing, which is great, and it's the best way to go. So, right now, are you in a specific area? I know you live in Fort Washington, but do you focus in on a certain area?
So I think it's more natural. I used to say like I worked the 73 corridor, like from Cheltenham to Collegeville, da 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 da.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Naturally, that's gotten tighter. I mean, when I really look at my business, it's Plymouth, White Marsh, Conshohocken, Bluebell, Upper Dublin, Lansdale, Ambler, sort of this very, very close, tight region. I sold a property in Overbrook section of Philadelphia last year. I sold, I do a decent amount in not Manayunk and Roxborough, I guess, which is sort of it's just a little bit of a detour, or not detour, but offshoot of Lafayette Hill. But not that I don't go everywhere, but my business tends to be very close to this Eastern Montgomery County region.
Yeah. So we're going to get a few of these in. People, you can always reach out to Sharon because we're not going to be able to get them all in. But this is a young couple. They're getting married in April. They live now in the mother-in-law to be's home, who's
Yes.
phenomenal, but they're looking to get out. They did it to save money. They're currently, I think, in the Collegeville area.
Mhm.
They want to know, what advice do you have for first-time home buyers? They're both 28 years old.
First of all, congratulations. That's super exciting. Second of all, have they spoken to a mortgage lender? That's first and foremost. And if they haven't, they got to reach out to me and I will give them a recommendation.
Okay.
Because we don't know, they probably don't know what they don't know, right? They probably don't, they may not have thought about, um, they probably thought about their credit score, but they probably don't understand down payment, how much cash we need,
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, yeah.
interest rates, and all these other pieces. And there's secrets that me or the lender will be able to give them to help them understand and either, get their credit score. Your credit score, here's why I talk about credit. I definitely didn't know this prior to being in real estate. Your credit score affects the interest rates that you earn when you buy a car or a home. So you want the best credit score possible.
Yeah.
But that
Pay your
doesn't
bills on time.
But that doesn't always mean paying off your credit cards. So you really need to talk to the lender first, and that's
Yeah.
free advice, absolutely free advice. So reach out to me about that, and I'll get you guys connected.
All right. I don't know if they did that. They haven't responded back, but let's go to the next question. Advice for someone who should have left their home already but needs to downsize. Should they wait? It's not urgent. Is this the right time? Their home probably will go for around, they said, they think on their street between 8 and 900,000.
Okay, don't wait. Don't wait to sell. The it is still such a strong seller's market, but it is starting to soften. Okay. Um, there have been a plethora of buyers. There's been so many buyers. So sellers have sort of had the pick of and multiple offers. Everybody's heard all this stuff. This is nothing. I'm not talking out of school. But the market is starting to soften a bit, which means that less buyers, less opportunity for sellers to sell as strong as they were selling 6, 12 months.
Gotcha. So go now is what you're saying.
Go now, but let's get ready. I mean, let's talk about it because we need to prep the house. Because also, other people think that like, oh, everybody's getting 100,000 over ask price. Hold on. To get those kinds of numbers over the typical rate, over the
Yeah.
typical value, you have to be in a perfect situation. And staging isn't the only word that we use. I mean, there's more things to get ready. So, and there's programs that I have to help. And I have to say, that's actually the favorite part of what I do that I've learned is that I love helping people prep their houses for sale, showing them what really matters in today's world. Because a lot of us haven't moved for 20 years,
Yeah.
haven't decorated in 20 years. Things have changed. Buyers' eyes are different. They're looking for different things. And to get those higher numbers, those bigger numbers, you really need to be in today's current eyes. So I know how to get you there.
All right. So this one, I want to get to this because I hear this a lot recently. This woman, 3 years ago, her husband passed away. And ever since then, she lives on the main line. Everyone keeps coming by, like wanting to be a realtor, want to be a realtor.
Yeah.
She's overwhelmed, not by moving to another place, but how the heck is she going to figure out after 55 years in this home
Yeah.
what to do with everything?
Right.
And that's why, wait, and that's why, even though her kids are driving her crazy, she has not moved on it because she doesn't even know how to begin to
I
deal with
think
all these memories.
I've only been in my house 18 years, something like that. And it's overwhelming. I mean, just think about all the spaces that you've just kind of stuck things in. And when people move out, you just stick more things in. Nobody ever takes everything that belongs on them or to them. So it is extremely overwhelming. I have dealt with some people that have needed my help and have needed actually outside professional help, which we have. You know, I have people that are declutterers, that there
Oh,
are companies out there that will help somebody. I mean, let's face it, she's been in her home for 55 years. She's an older woman. And
yeah,
the emotional strain and stress over thinking about moving, there's so many different parts of it, but getting rid of or deciding what to do with all of your things that you've accumulated is really a hard time. And there are companies that not only are they there to help you with the physical work, they'll do all the physical work. They'll make the piles for different groups, you know, for different places to give away, right? Different organizations. But they'll also help you mentally. They're
yeah,
actually therapists along
yeah,
the
yeah,
way.
yeah,
And I work directly with those people, and they can make it seamless, even though it's a really, really hard time. Now that's not free. I mean, that's an additional
yeah,
service, but your children will appreciate it. You and your children will really, really appreciate it. It's a hard time for everybody.
yeah, yeah. Everyone and its kids members. All right, we're going to get this last one in about real estate, and it's from a son whose father lives in his own home, which is a mansion. He's 92, and the reason he isn't moving is because he doesn't trust anybody. So how do you pick, and how can he help his father find a realtor that he trusts? Because he just thinks everybody's out to, well, gouge him.
Well, so he's 92, so he knows 1,000 people, or over his time, he's known 1,000 people. It sounds like he has a personality that he's questioning who he can trust.
Yeah,
And that's a little bit of a harder one. In that situation, you know, maybe he reach out to his financial advisor or his, um, you know, accountant, somebody, lawyer, somebody that will help him feel confident. You know, I've
yeah.
lawyers that have referred me business estates. I mean, mostly at that time the person has already passed away. But you know, maybe his lawyer is a place for him to go. Someone that he trusts,
Somebody he trusts that can
because
help him with this.
I mean, in it makes sense. Like he's afraid maybe his kids are just waiting for his money, and is waiting for his money, and
Yeah,
is that waiting for
yeah,
his, and yeah. I mean, I unfortunately I don't have that problem, but I could imagine that's just a problem. That is another problem. What do you do?
yeah,
So
yeah.
I would, you know, really rely on your trusted advisor to have them hook you up with somebody.
You got it. All right, Sharon, I just want to pivot for a bit. Thank you for answering those questions. For
Yes.
those of you who have more questions, we'll give the information at the end to how to find Sharon. Let's talk about, when did you start as the president of BW Nice, the Montgomery chapter? I know I think it represents the Laura House, correct?
Yes. So the story there is I've done a lot of networking, especially women's networking, business networking since I started my real estate business, which is, like I said, almost 10 years ago. I've been networking and meeting a lot of women around the area.
Yeah.
It was before COVID, about 5 years ago, I heard from one of my dear friends, Sydney Seener, who is a mortgage lender, and she and I do a lot of business together and have become good friends, that she joined another group called BW Nice, and their chapter was Bucks County, and they have a charity component, is all I knew about. Um,
Okay.
asked further about the charity component. But what, you do all this networking, you're meeting people, da da da, and it seems at some point it seems a little selfish. Like, I mean, you do it, Sandy. Like at some point you're like, there's more to this life than just this. There's like you just kind of, and then she just kept saying this charity, this charity, this charity. Long story short, I called about putting together a Montgomery County group because nobody was starting it. And then I started to realize what it really was. And about 2 years ago, at first I wasn't really ready to do what the founder of the organization felt was needed to
Yeah.
start up the group. I wasn't ready. And then about 2 years ago, I said, okay, I'm ready. Let's just start this. And I found four other ladies or three or four that raised their hand to help me, just started to gather people together. And at our last meeting, we had 36 people registered. So,
Wow.
which I mean, isn't the biggest deal in the world, but
It's a big deal. It
it
is
was
a big.
it's huge. It's I'm thrilled. Our charity partner, all of the chapters are connected with their charity partner is the local domestic violence agency of
Mm,
the county. So Laurel House is the Montgomery County Domestic Violence Agency. It's not just a shelter. So this
yeah.
is
Yeah.
we do is we meet, we mingle, we talk about each other's businesses and get to know each other, and we raise money and support and education for Laurel House. That's always the biggest piece of it, and I have gotten addicted to it. Like, we've had a couple people in to speak to us about Laurel House, and I've gone to a couple Laurel House events, and the amount of education you guys really, everybody out there, talk to if you have any children, nieces, nephews, or grandchildren that are in the school system that are anywhere from upper elementary, middle school, high school, they are hearing from their domestic violence agency of that county, and we should
Mm,
all be extremely thankful, and we should all be helping them because these kids have to learn about healthy dating. They have
yeah.
to learn about healthy relationships because it's always started young. The truth of the matter is this has always been around. It's just
Absolutely.
getting the spotlight now that it's deserved. And I'm sure we all know, or I'm a big watcher of Dateline. There are a lot of very, very sick people out there, and a lot of it starts small,
Mm,
sometimes in your own home, uh,
yeah. Yeah.
and women are killed by this stuff. So it's not just the shelter. There is a 24-hour shelter available in all of these counties,
Yeah.
but it's not just that. They have much more support for people in need, much more.
Yeah.
Counseling, lawyers, accountant, everything. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. It's incredible. All right. Do you have any events coming up for them?
I'm so glad you asked. Next Wednesday, we have our BW Nice on Ice happy hour. So that's Wednesday the 13th. We have a happy hour at Panache. We always meet at Panache
Oh,
Bell. It's always fun there. So that's from 5 to 7 or so. There's no admission to attend. We do ask for cash donations for Laurel House at the door. You can register. I'll tell you, the address for BW Nice is bwnice.org, and then go on chapters, and there's a Montgomery County
yeah.
chapter, and then you can register. And then our next meeting is the following Tuesday, which I think is the 19th, is our December meeting. We meet also at Panache, 11:30 to 1:15 is our meeting.
Gotcha.
So, where we always the speaker, yada yada.
All right, Sharon, before we go, and I know we're running over, but you have another new adventure you're doing. You started a podcast.
Oh, I did. Oh, I
Talk
did. Thank you.
about it.
So I started a podcast to really support. I've lived in this community in White Marsh Township for 25 years, and I kind of always call it Plymouth White Marsh because they're together in the school district. And I've just gotten to love this area so much. My husband and I are both from the main line, and we moved here 25 years ago, and we'll never move back over on the other side of the river. We just love it here. So I wanted to really support everybody in this community and let people know that there are such great things to do, such great people, caring people. Last week, I interviewed the director of our White Marsh Township Parks and Rec, who is also a volunteer firefighter. So, like, everybody's so intermingled, and the next person is, there could be a business owner, a restaurant owner who's also a coach for the baseball team. Like everybody's very intermingled. I also do sell a live real estate here, so that's always just another way for me to get my name out there. But
Yeah,
called, it's on YouTube, and it's called Life in the Suburbs with Sharon.
it's brilliant. It's brilliant. And I love that you're doing that, Sharon. I'm so
And I
happy for
hope
you.
that I can get more comfortable with it, because I'm sitting here with you 30 some minutes later, and I'm like, I just did another. I just did a podcast this morning. I recorded one, and I was not as comfortable as you are. So you're my goal.
Sharon, I've been doing it forever, man. I've been doing it forever. I think I was doing not live shows, but I was doing podcasts, called it radio, like for 17 years now.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
a long time, man. All
yeah.
right. Sharon, thank you so much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I'm glad we connected and reunited. I really am. And for those of you out there that didn't get to hear the old thing, don't worry about it. When I'm done here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to record the segment, and then I'm going to put it on every freaking platform. So it will be on LinkedIn, it will be on Instagram, it will be on Facebook, it will be on TikTok, and it will be on our website. Also, Sharon will be able to share it. So spread the word. We really appreciate it. And you know what I'm going to say. Until next time,
Uh,
toodles.
Thank
Bye,
you.
Sharon.
Awesome. Thank you.